All right, welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. You are watching To The Point, and tonight our conversation is based on the story on finding a quest for peace from the people of Kapedo. That is a story that was compiled and produced by our very own Linda Alela, who is in studio with us tonight. And of course, we have Hassan Ismail, the Interpeace Nairobi County, that is country representative in Kenya. Now remember that Turkana and Pokot communities have been engaged in conflict for decades, primarily over access to resources such as water and grazing land. I guess I'll just start with Hassan Ismail, because in your story, Alela, there's something that caught my attention in your first line, and you said that there has been a remarkable reduction of insecurity in the North Rift region. Maybe Hassan, could you confirm this, and would you agree that that is the case in the North Rift?
Yeah, thank you very much. And I think the current situation in North Rift and generally in northern Kenya is that there is marked reduction in the incidence of violence over time. The only thing is that media has not been able to penetrate a lot. We thank the social media platforms that are really playing a very important role. But I think what is happening is that we have been in North Rift from 2019. And in 2019, there are people who are betting, leaders who are saying, if you go to Kapedo, we will pay you, price, and you come back safe. Today, it's a place where you can go. Linda and the team and the media team traveled. They had wonderful trip in the North Rift. Right. So the story is completely different. In the past, people will only go to Kapedo, Lomelo, under very heavy security. Now you can drive in without any security escorts. So life has really changed, but there are a number of things that have not changed. And I think those are the things that matter to me, because we did a research in that area. A number of indicators, impediment to peace were illiteracy, small arms, lack of infrastructure. None of those things are being addressed to date. A lot of those things are still wanting. So as long as those impediments to peace have not been addressed, school enrollment has not increased, roads have not been built, economic opportunities have not been created, for us as the peace builders, we are not with disarming people, we are helping communities to silence the gun. And we have done that tremendously, and a lot has happened in that area. But I think what is happening is that there is need for collective effort that is required for us to transform that region.
All right, before I miss the main point, there's something that you've mentioned that has also still struck my attention before we bring Linda in. You say that media has not been able to report on the developments in Kapedo area. From this story by TV47, would you still say the same?
No, we really want to appreciate the media, TV47 and other media teams that have made a number of visits to that region. But what I'm saying is about daily occurrence, daily reporting. What is being reported always is incident of violence. That usually catches people's eye. But the number of peace meetings, the number of reconciliations, the number of livestock recoveries, the number of wonderful stories of communities coming together, these are things that have not been made to the limelight of the Kenyan media. And these are the issues which I always say, these are the hidden part of the treasure of the peace process that's happening in that area. And it's the thing that I really want to be heard.
All right. Linda, Hassan is talking about the treasures in Kapedo area. Of course, this is an area that is so challenging to report from due to maybe inaccessibility and the region being risky, as we put it sometimes. So what are some of these treasures that you encountered while reporting from Kapedo area? First of all, how was your experience?
All right, thank you, Adida. This feels awkward. But all the same, I appreciate, and perhaps, throughout my time as a journalist, I'd probably say that this is one of the things that I will remember dearly. This was an experience like no other. Let me tell you, the first time, I first of all called the editor to tell him that I will be going to Kapedo. Silence for a moment. Then the next question is, are you sure you'll be safe? Is everything going to be okay? And I know that most of the times, of course, the editors will release you to go and cover such stories. But of course, they are concerned because that is their number one mandate, to ensure that you are safe wherever it is that you're going. And then I call my relatives, I call my friends, I tell colleagues in the office that, oh, I am excited. But I wasn't even excited. I won't even lie to you, because deep down, I was feeling like, my goodness, they have been painting an ugly picture of Kapedo. Forgive my ignorance, I would say, but I was actually thinking of, you know, a safari that would be like a whole day, getting there in the evening, and a safari where, you know, utakutana na bandits literally, and you're scared, and gunshots and all that. So my mom was even trying to discourage me. Are you sure you really want to go there? And then I thought to myself, where will I grasp this award-winning story? If I die, I die. After all, that is the call of duty, you know, that our gun, which is the camera, is what we protect before we get to protect ourselves. And so I thought to myself, why not? Why not give it a shot and see? And I tried to ask them, you know, the ones that are going to take us there, are you sure that we'll be safe? 101%. They were like, yes, it's going to be a safe experience. Trust you us. Trust you me. You know, this is now Alas I'm talking to. And I was just like, all right, fine, let's give it a shot and see. And to my dismay, or to my surprise, to be honest, Odida, we never got to encounter anything that would have literally put our lives in danger. In as much as there's a time where we're traveling from, say, Maral to Baragoi, in the bush, right in the bush, in the middle of the night. And you know, the driver is giving us stories as though to just tell us everything is okay, calm down, don't worry. So when we get to the destination is when he tells us, by the way, huko kwa bush, it's never that safe. So I just was trying to give you guys stories so that I get your mind off worry and all that. So I can tell you that it was a smooth experience. It was a nice experience. And I can confidently say that as we tell this untold stories, that indeed there's some element of peace as opposed to what literally we've been seeing, you know, painted about the Kapedo area and the North Rift region.
Right. You've seen, Linda has also brought in the aspect, that is our motto right here at TV47, which is telling the untold stories.
Right.
And of course, we're trying to also get the picture of some treasures right there at the Kapedo area. But from your story, Linda, there is the night before you went, I think it's on your third trip, there was an attack.
Yes, Ngilai.
At
right.
Ngilai.
Yeah.
Now, Hassan, in such cases, how do you now try to forge a lasting peace and solution for this family, which has just lost, I think, 100
goats, yes,
goats and cattle? So how do you try and find solution for such a family?
I think the incidents of livestock being stolen or raided, that is not the first, and that it will not be also the last.
Why? Why not?
The good part of it is that these raids have all history and context. The history is that this is a forgotten land where communities have been left to wage, you know, crimes against each other unabated over time, from their traditional, until it has come to a situation where, when I meet a number of senior government officials, they will allude to the concept that this is the culture. There is no culture in violence. There's no culture in killing. There's no culture in raiding. No culture encourages that. The issue here is lawlessness. It's absence of government. It's absence of rule of law. It's absence of failure of the duty bearers. So unfortunately, one of the biggest unfortunate part of the story is that we come from an area where crime has been normalized by the state and people who are in power. And this is where, as peace builders, we are trying to tell people that there is no culture that permits that. There's no culture that promotes that. It is the failure of institutions that are supposed to safeguard the life and property of people that have failed to. So this area is very vast. The roads are poor. Our security officers, I don't need to blame them a lot because they are poorly ill-equipped. What they really require is rapid response, choppers, things that can help them rapidly to deploy themselves. Our choppers in the security sector, transports political leaders and to rallies and to meetings rather than addressing insecurity in this country. So I think there is peace. Peace is coming gradually. People are transforming. People are talking to one another. People are interacting. When you go to Paraguay, for example, last year we celebrated the International Day of Peace in Paraguay, where as much as there is an incident of violence, just like in Nairobi, there could be crime, carjacking, bank raid, or shop broken into. It's the same kind of crime. It's only that here the police are very active in pursuing. There, no stones are left unturned, and we never see any result. The report is that always an incident happens, everybody says, we will leave no stone unturned. And we have never seen a stone that has been turned to recover life. So this is where a lot of, and I don't blame them. The terrain is tough. What our security officers require are drones. They require choppers, standby choppers, where they can intercept. The good part of it is that all these raids that are happening the last few years, 95% of them, the communities tell us that the youth are mobilizing. There is an impending raid. It is likely to happen. 5 days before, 4 days before, we get this information. And we share with the communities. Everyone is prepared. The only problem is the terrain is so bad, and we end up finding recoveries and stopping difficult. And I believe this is something, if we sit in a room with the security agencies, the government, the local administrators, the political leaders themselves, and all of us agree, how do we end this? This thing can be ended. The only problem is there's a lot of lack of coordination. The security is struggling on its own. The political leaders are busy with other issues. The peace institutions are busy with other issues. And the countries, we haven't really brought all our energies together. This is the only missing link. Otherwise, the communities are ripe for peace. And I want to assure everyone here that North Rift can be very peaceful.
Wonderful. Now, Linda, you see, we have already been profiled as the media, as people who only report on the bad side. How did the residents, the government in that area perceive you? How did they welcome you? Were you warm? Did you feel like they were seeing you as a tool for change, or just a tool for sensitizing, I beg your pardon, of course, of the situation that is around that area?
I'm telling you, we had an experience of just getting to meet very many people, and from different communities and from different tribes, if you'd want to call it. And they look at you and they see hope. They look at you. That is why I begin my piece by saying that we have a letter from the people of Kapedo, because they look at you and they know that while you might just want to tell a story for the sake of telling it, they are certain that you're going to take their grievances to the right ears, so that these grievances, are addressed. It is unfortunate as well to realize that there are some people who are deep in the bush and are perhaps not bothered about what would be of the other side of life. The way you travel to a new destination and you probably see a building that has been set up in a very beautiful way, and you're like, oh, there's so much to life than what I'm used to. You realize that these people have perhaps even zero idea, some of them, of whether it's necessary to have a hospital. After all, they have their hubs there. They probably don't have an idea whether, you could do some really nice farming, irrigation and all that. After all, there is grass that is God-given. And by the way, the area, and you would probably correct me if I'm wrong, was pretty much looking fertile from what I saw. Perhaps I went there during the good times, pretty much green. And I'm thinking, all this land, what are we doing with all this land as a country? I mean, would we not get to tap into the resources, the land that is there, do irrigation, do agriculture, and, not just feed Kapedo, but basically feed the entire country. And therefore, I can tell you for sure, I spoke to some little kids who I engaged in English just to get to know whether they can actually speak English. And I am telling you, they speak good English. Some of them telling me they would love to take watermelons. You can imagine a little child saying, what is this one thing that you look forward to ever eating, not even sweet watermelons and all that and everything. That is a sign of someone who's looking at you and they're thinking, you can bring hope. Tomorrow you can bring us biscuits. Tomorrow you can bring us watermelon. Tomorrow you can bring us all these things, all these nice things that we get to read in books, And the fact that they allowed us to film their peace talks, is an indication that these people know that, these peace talks are as good as useless if we're just going to do them here and not involve the leadership. And therefore, if they're going to film this, then this is going to the members of parliament, whom we get to vote and perhaps we never get to see. This is going to go to the main government. This is going to get to the interior, ministry. This is going to the ears of the president, and therefore these things that they call hospitals, these things that they call schools, these things that they call, banks, these things that they call infrastructure, maybe those things we're ever going to get to experience them. And thanks to technology, that some of them have phones, and therefore they have an idea of what the world looks like.
Right, what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. So the question is, why is it that we do not have such kinds of things here?
So, Hassan, what is just the state of education in Kapedo, for instance?
No, Kapedo town as it is has sufficiently about 3 primary schools and a secondary school. So I think Kapedo, as it is a relatively well served with the education infrastructure. But when we are looking about the Sukuta Valley, I'm talking about a wider scope of, from Laikipia, part of Malaso, in Samburu West, towards Turkana, and then Kerio Valley, Turkana South, Turkana East. The whole of that belt, a number of areas are unattended. They lack schools, they lack hospitals, they lack roads, they lack electricity. Key infrastructures are all lacking. So I think and when we did our research, the first impediment to peace in North Rift has become illiteracy. And if illiteracy is never addressed, then we are likely not to be able to address some of these issues. There are 3 things that usually make somebody peace responsive. One is the issue of exposure. The context by which how somebody has been socialized. The issue of how somebody is law-abiding. These are 3 very fundamental issues. And these are 3 things that don't just happen naturally like that. If you don't get a school, you don't get socialized. If there is no church, schooling, these are the places where we get socialized. Exposure, you need to travel to far places and see how people live. The people in that area just move between those valleys, raiding one another, killing one another. They have never moved out of that. We took about 70 of them last time to come and see. And they were looking at some of the buildings in Nairobi, and they were saying, did God drop these houses like this, or it was made by a man? And we took them to Makweni, and they were so surprised that somebody can keep poultry, somebody can do, and all those people, about 70 of them, we return them back, have a new chapter as we speak now. So I think what is happening is, as peace-building institution, for example, Interpeace, we have been in this region in Mandera, Wajir, Marsabit, and the entire 6 counties of North Rift. The community peace infrastructure, the structures that are supposed to work on peace are there. The peace education is there. The kind of networks within the community is there. The only issue where we have challenges and we need to work around it is to build on that by bringing in, government intervention, the coordination with political leaders. The political leaders are very powerful people. They are being listened to. And when you look at, for example, an area where we have done a very good work in Mandera County, today once an incident happens in Mandera, the entire leadership, from the governor to senator to all the members of parliament, they all board one flight, go to that place and solve that issue. They don't look at whether it is this clan against this clan. They don't look at whether it is this boundary or this boundary. This is what we are trying to tell the leaders in North Rift. So I think with those a few interventions, proper coordination, I think we'll look forward to see how peace will be sustained in that region.
Of course, just as we wind up, Linda, and this should also serve as your parting shot, because the directors on my
I agree.
So you had a letter from the residents of Kapedo to the government. Just take this chance to now just relay your letter as it is.
It's as simple as hospitals. It's as simple as more schools. It's as simple as infrastructure. You can imagine that I only saw one Nissan Matatu. All this. The president was in Mugochio the other day. Well, maybe it's because perhaps we were traveling with personal vehicles, but I can tell you for free, one Nissan Matatu for 6 cool days. What does that mean? It's as simple as just bringing life. You can imagine carrying Nairobi and taking it to these different areas, and just how much of a life-changing experience it would be. It was during the Gen Z, movement. We still are in that euphoria, by the way. I just asked one of them whether they have an idea of what is playing out with this Gen Z talk. Different world, zero idea.
No idea.
What does that mean?
Two worlds.
Apart, same country.
All right, Hassan, I would have wanted you to end your, of course, this conversation by telling us what exactly will it take to forge a path to peace. And of course, you've told us so many things, but just for culture, is there anything that you haven't told us as we close, of course, in 1 minute?
I think I'll pick up from what you said, the Gen Z. The world is in paradox, and I really want to say the Kenyans have never been inspired by a number of initiatives to bring the country together. Just like the North Rift, this country requires a listening ear. The leadership in power needs to provide a listening space for everyone. Politics should never be driven, governance should never be driven by convenience. Politics is for convenience because politics is all about personal interest. And you look at what is convenient for you. But running a government and making sure that this country is stable, we really need to have a listening ear, both for North Rift and even for the Gen Z's revolution that has happened.
All right, there we have it. There we have it. That is the cry from the people of Kapedo, North Rift, just a call for inclusivity and a chance at just a normal life like everyone else. Thank you so much, Alela, for
Please appreciate my choker. A souvenir all the way from Samburu.
Wonderful.
Thank
we
you.
love it. You
Thank you
so much. Thank you for
there's so much in this other side that we really need to appreciate.
Right. And thank you for telling the untold stories of that area. We hope that that story right there will win an award actually and remain right here at the station. We are currently the home of the Journalist of the Year, in case you did not know. Of course,
thank you
Hassan, thank you so much for making time to shed light on this conversation on the North Rift and how your peacekeeping mission is going round over there. Of course, that brings us to the end of this bulletin. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here. Have a good night and see you next time, inshallah. My name